Welcome to the introductory training video for the Philips Strand Lighting 500 ml, built for moving lights. The 500 ml has very easy, intuitive graphical user interfaces that are accessible on the built-in touchscreen. The 500 ml's external monitor has very useful information in blocks that are called pools. You have your fixture pool, groups pool, presets pool, cue lists pool, fader pages, and quick options. Now I want to talk about the hardware keys that are available on the desk. You have several groupings of keys that are in groups called tiles. On the left-hand side, you have the command keys. This allows for recording, loading, editing, delete, copy, move, turning items off, assigning, and changing pages, along with the double-wide clear button for releasing all information from the programmer. Next, you have the attribute keys, often referred to as attribute family keys. The 500 ml breaks down all attributes into the 4 attribute families of intensity, focus, color, and beam. Intensity and color are fairly self-explanatory. Focus deals with pan and tilt position movement. Beam deals with every parameter involved in the beam. So that would include gobos, edge, focus, zoom, shutters, animation wheels, prisms, and those sorts of parameters. The main keypad is where your numerical keypad is, which is where you will do the majority of your channel selection from the keyboard, as well as cue numbering. Top right, you have your fan and your highlight keys. Highlight will allow you to highlight a particular fixture, so it will clear the beam and stand out when you're in a complicated cue. And fan will allow you to do dynamic static ranges upon fixtures. The object keys allow you to navigate the software in terms of opening different windows that you need to manipulate, or going into setup and manipulating cues and cue lists. The next and last buttons will allow you to cycle through the next or the previous fixtures for fast programming. And lastly, on the bottom right hand side, you have your multifunction wheel, which will dynamically change intensity and other things that are selected. Now, one of the basic concepts to understand with the 500 ml is that we do not distinguish between channels or fixtures. It is only about fixtures. This allows more flexibility. As an example, you may easily replace any fixture with a different model of fixture, or even replicate fixtures while maintaining the values that were previously programmed in the original fixture. To make fixture replacement and replication work, a conventional dimmer channel is also a fixture and is patched using a library file that contains one attribute only, and that would be a dimmer. This also applies to numbering. The 500 ml uses fixture numbers for numbering, not channel numbers. Also, there is only one set of numbers. So channels and fixtures are effectively the same control item. Another basic concept is highest takes precedence, or HTP, versus last takes precedence, or LTP. Generally, desks that are not designed to handle moving lights, like a simple 2-scene preset desk, will work only on a highest takes precedence basis. This means that if a fixture's intensity is being controlled by 2 different parts of the console, such as preset 1 and preset 2 at the same time, the intensity will be at the higher of the 2 levels. Basically, the highest value wins. Parameters other than intensity do not have higher or lower values. A color of red is not higher or lower than a color of green, and Gobo 1 is not higher or lower than Gobo 2. It is simply different. So when working with moving lights, a better way to decide precedence is called last takes precedence, and that's what is needed. With this system, the fixture value will always be the value that have most recently been changed. Another basic concept in the 500 demo are priorities. You do have the option of changing some priorities. Some of these priorities are set and are just part of the console's mentality. The highest priority is highlight. So if you highlight a fixture, that will always take precedence. The sixth priority is the Grandmaster. The one below that at number 5 are fixture and group submasters. Right in the middle at priority 4 is the programmer. These are going to be changes that you manually make during the programming of your production. Continuing down, priority 3, queue lists that have been assigned high priority. So if the queue list is set to HTTP, then dimmable channels will always be compared on the same priority level. Below that at priority 2 is the queue list with standard priority. And at the bottom, priority 1, the lowest, are attribute default values. So these are going to be values that have not been changed by the programmer. Playbacks and priorities. The console allows multiple different queue lists to be run at the same time. You can have several queue lists active at the same time, each on its own playback, and the console itself have 6 banks of 4 playbacks each for a total of 24 faders that are playbacks, but you also have multiple pages. Tracking. When a sequence of cues is programmed, the lighting console can store the information in one of two ways. Either it records the settings for all attributes of all the fixtures used in the queue list, or it is only recording the values that have changed. The latter is called tracking and was invented because consoles in the early years had too little memory to store all the information it would have needed to store for the first example given. However, tracking is not outdated. It has its advantages over the non-tracking approach. The ML console allows you to play back queue lists both in tracking or in non-tracking modes, and this can be set and changed for playback after it has been recorded. The 500 ml fixture libraries. There are 3 different fixture libraries within this concept. The system library gets replaced with every software update. It contains around 6,700 fixtures and is maintained by us at Strand Lighting, and it is not editable by the user. The user library is fully editable by the user and is not replaced or deleted during software updates. It is stored on the flash disk of the console, and its fixture types are available to all existing or new shows. The show library resides within the show file itself. Before a fixture can be patched, it needs to be added to the show library. The show library is stored within the show file and hence will be exported with the show file if a backup to a USB key is made. Fixtures within the show library are not available to other shows. To make the fixture types in the show library available to other shows, they need to be transferred to the user library first. Navigating through the graphical user interfaces is very intuitive and is context sensitive, meaning that depending upon where you go, what buttons you push, what screens you open, the graphical user interfaces will follow you appropriately. There are 4 encoders on the 500 ml, and they are labeled at the bottom of the internal touchscreen. The encoder labels show encoder functions and values. Clicking on them toggles between a set of common values. In the programmer screen, labels will not show values. Instead, the programmer window is used to display values. Toolbars, which are also available at the bottom of the internal touchscreen, are context sensitive to aid and provide quick access to multiple different functions. Some toolbars are nested or stacked on top of each other, such as the default toolbar. The image at the bottom shows you that once you hit fixture selection, the next level will appear, giving you access to different functions for fixture selection. Or if you select fan option, that will give you different options within your toolbar for that title. Fader page indicators and the command line. The fader page indicator shown in the bottom left corner of the internal touchscreen display shows which fader page you are on. If no page name has been set, it will be represented in the form of current page/page count. Or if a page name has been set, it will show that name. Whenever you enter commands on the console's front panel, they are written into the command line interface, which will also check if the command entered is a valid command. So some valid commands from the command line syntax. In general, the command line syntax need to be entered in action, source, and target form. When no action is specified, the source item will be selected. Some of the examples below will show you how to record preset number 1, or you can just select preset number 1. You can copy preset number 1 to preset number 2. You can move preset number 1 to preset number 2, or you can assign QList 2 and then press the appropriate go or pause back button for the fader that you want to target the assignment. Opening screens and dialogues. The console provides easy and logical ways to open the context-sensitive screens. As an example, pressing Setup will take you into the Setup screen. The examples below show holding down the Open key and then pressing the Fixture key will open the Fixture Pool window on the internal touchscreen. The same thing is true of opening the Group Pool, the Preset Pool, which will show you all presets, opening the QList pool, opening any of the intensity, focus, color, or beam preset pools, or opening up a fader page directory window. Remember, many of these are already present on an external monitor in a smaller window pool. Opening screens and dialogues. A short press on the Open key provides you with the Open toolbar, which may also be used to open the different pool windows. The so-called pools are used throughout the console to provide a quick and easy way to interact with groups, presets, and QLists. If a single object within a pool is referred to, we will often refer to it as a pool object. So the pool that the arrow at the top of the image is pointing to is showing basic information about the item. The lower arrow is showing a pool item that has not yet been used. Now more about pool items. The group, preset, and QList pool items in general have 3 states: empty, not selected, and selected. The empty state is indicated by a dark background color. Whenever you enter commands on the console front panel, they are written into the command line interface, which will also check to see if the command entered is a valid command. The fixture pool, or fixture level view, is similar to other pools. However, there are 2 big differences. It only shows fixtures that have been added to the show instead of showing empty items, and it provides an overview of the fixture values that are being outputted at any given moment. Scrolling the screens. Many screens provide the ability to scroll using the encoder or the multifunction wheel. If a screen supports scrolling using the encoders, the encoder labels will read scroll together with an explanation of what will be scrolled. All screens that contain scrollable content may be scrolled by pressing the Shift key while turning the multifunction wheel. The keypad dialog. Whenever a keypad dialog is shown, the keypad on the faceplate of the console or the multifunction wheel may be used to set values. The multifunction wheel will increase or decrease values, and the keypad may be used to directly enter values or to increase or decrease values using the plus or minus keys. Enter will close the dialog. The on-screen keyboard. You may enter values and names using an external USB keyboard connected to the console whenever the on-screen keyboard is shown, or you can also use the on-screen keyboard itself. Fader labels on the external screen. Fader labels give you a quick overview of fader assignments, current cue list states, and much more. The look of the fader labels vary depending upon the fader content. You can see here there are fade masters, speed masters, and grandmaster indicators for the different fader assignments, as well as group masters, fixture masters, and cue lists. Thank you for watching this introductory video on the Philips Strand Lighting 500 ml console. Stay tuned for more videos on the operation of the 500 ml console.